Greetings and good time zone. I hope people are doing well today. Hi Blue, hi Chiffy, hi Johnny. How are you all today? I hope you're doing well. I decided to just talk about Pathfinder the other day. And today seemed like the best day to do it. Because I love Pathfinder 2nd edition. I find it so much better than D&D 5th edition. You could have slept a bit more, but it's fine. Who needs sleep? So yeah, basically I want to just answer questions that people may have if they're interested in trying the game, but mostly talk about the similarities between D&D 5th edition and Pathfinder 2nd edition. And yeah, I have no plan, no structure. I'm just going to wing it. So this should be fun. I don't know whether I should just have like a text document open or something. In fact, let me just open a notepad.
Zerap waddle, zerap waddle, zerap waddle, zerap hug.
Zero throttle, zero throttle, zero throttle, zero hug. Hi Gucci, how are you today? I hope you're feeling better. Thank you for the resub. I appreciate it. 2 months already. What is time? What is time? But yeah, the basic things of like D&D 5th edition is you use a D20. So does Pathfinder. Skills pretty much the same, although for D&D 5th edition you have skills, but then you are proficient with them, and they gain scaling from +2 to, I think, +6, maybe +7 with an item. You're home for now and that makes you happy. Yay! Pathfinder's a little different. For skills in Pathfinder, skills have 4 levels of proficiency. Yeah, if I could... Yeah, that's right. It's so zoomed in, I'm like, is that spelled right? So you have trained, expert, master, and I can't type today, legendary. This adds a +2. This, in fact, let me just do that. +2, +4, +6, and then +8 to the skill. But then you also get your level added for them. I think your level only gets added... Oh, you also get your stat, skill, proficiency, and attributes plus variable. Pathfinder's the same attribute, and it's worked out the exact same as well. So your so say you've got 12 in an attribute, it's +1. So it's 12 minus 10 and then divided by 2 and rounded down usually. Pathfinder goes that one bit further, and if you're trained in it, you also add your level. So if you're untrained, you don't add your level to it. You still add your attribute and all this lot, and I can very easily show you on here. Like, this is... change that to level 4, because I can show you what my character currently is in my Pathfinder game. So this is Ulyssa, my witch character, and she's awesome. I don't have everything filled out fully in this, but I can show you as part of this stream. But if you look, I have 0 strength scoring, well, 0 strength score. I have +2 dex and -1 to constitution, which means I'm very squishy. I have a +4 intelligence, and the game very nicely reminds me that my key attribute for my class, of which is intelligence. Foundry, I should say, reminds me. Foundry is just the best thing for playing online. And I have +2 to wisdom and +2 to charisma. I will go through character creation because I think it'll just be fun to do. So if we look at my proficiencies, I have a +0 strength modifier, so my athletics, which is untrained, has a +0. Whereas if I go into trained, it now has a +6 because I'm level 4. If we just move this here, move you here. So out of the attribute, which +0, trained, it adds +2. And then it adds my level of 4 because I'm trained in it. If I become expert, it increases another 2. Master increases another 2. Legendary increases another 2. Skills are based on your class, like you get a certain amount, but then you also get extra based on your intelligence modifier, which is awesome. So I forget how many did I get as a witch, but all these are available online for free, the rules essentially. I'll zoom in a little bit. So skills, which is different, determined by my patron. Then I get 3 plus my intelligence modifier of skills. So if you're smart, you get a lot more skills, which is great. You also get a language for each intelligence modifier you have, which is why I need to fill this in. But I have 4 unallocated languages. I have Common, which is called Taldane. I have Elven, because I'm an elf. And then I have +4 intelligence, so I have 4 languages to choose. And there's quite a lot. One thing that I will mention, though, about Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and I think it's great as well, there are common things, there are uncommon things, there are rare things. It's very easy for a DM to say, okay, you're only allowed to choose from common, or you're only allowed to choose from common and uncommon. Rare is usually a special thing. Like, uncommon is more acceptable. Rare, quite often, is just denied. Because some of the things can be a bit overpowered. But it's up to the game. And you can talk to your DM about it, and they might be like, oh, you know what? Sure, go for it. I think the easiest thing for me to do would be just to do character creation. I use a different site for it. And I'll show you the fun stuff with this. But I have this site, Path Builder. So I'm going to create a new character. It has all the rules that I have set up, which it excludes a couple of books, and it enables what's called a free archetype, which I will get into in a bit. So let's get started. Basically, everything is run on feats. Kind of like D&D, where at level 4 you can choose a feat if you want. But this game relies on feats. There's a lot more of them, which can be scary, but it makes you able to fine-tune your character or have ideas for a character. So I'll zoom in on this to make it a little bit easier as well. So, Ancestry. Oh, let me just load this back up. Every character, when you do character creation, at level 1, In D&D, you have race, class. That's pretty much it. Pathfinder has and background. But backgrounds can be kind of messy and give you stuff like the what is it? Can't remember the name of it now. But there's a background that lets you just forage for food out in the wilderness. Outlander. And it's kind of meh. So you get an ancestry, you get a background, you get a class. But then within that class, within these, you get to choose heritage, which is a feat, kinda. You get heritage and ancestry feat. Yeah. Background is pretty much what it is, but it usually comes with a free feat and ability score improvements, ASI. Can't remember if your ancestry does as well. I don't think so. I think your background does. Class, you immediately start with a class feat and an ASI, and then you have, for D&D 5th edition, you roll 4d6, keep highest 3 times 6 for your stats, or you can do point by. Pathfinder, it's reversed. You have essentially point by, but it's kind of different, or you can roll. But point by is the standard. And then you get usually a bunch of other feats as you're going. So I'm not going to show like the character creation in 5th edition. I just kind of know it and remember it. So let's move this over here and let's create a character. We could do the very boring thing of creating a level 1 fighter, which you'll understand is a lot better than what it is in 5th edition, hopefully. So, ancestry. We have common, ancestry, uncommon, rare, and then this is just all of them. So, in Pathfinder, you have your common ancestries: dwarf, elf, gnome, goblin, halfling, human, leshy, orc. Notice that we have goblin and orc as common ancestries that we can choose from. They're not just monster races, essentially. I know that 5th edition did add them, that you could take them, but usually with the caveat of ask your DM first. And then we have Leshy, which are plant people. So if you want to create a druid that really likes plants and wants to be a plant, there you go. With your races, you get ability boosts and flaws. So you start off with, as say, a dwarf. You get constitution because they're hardy. You get wisdom because they're in the dark quite a lot on the ground. They kind of need to know what they're doing and learn from experience. And then you get a free one, which we'll come to later, where these all come into play. But because they're kind of isolated underground usually, they don't have the best charisma. So they take a hit to charisma. Then you have common, dwarvish languages, and additional languages equal to your intelligence modifier. If it's positive, you could choose from Gnomish, Goblin, Jotun, which is Giant, Orcish, Hetron, which is Earth Elementals, Sackfroth, I don't know, that might be a demon language, and any other languages to which you have access, such as the languages prevalent in your region, which usually up to your DM. As a dwarf, you also get dark vision, because dwarf, and you get a clan dagger. You get one clan dagger for free, as it was given to you at birth. Selling this clan dagger is a terrible taboo and earns you the disdain of other dwarves. So immediately you get something that you can roleplay with. And a free item. What's not to like? Your hit points are also based off your race at level 1. We'll get into that soon. Your size is medium, and dwarves aren't very quick. The usual standard speed is 25, so dwarves are slightly slower. And then the very important thing to do with Pathfinder is traits. Traits are on literally everything. Absolutely everything. So, like, you're a dwarf. This website's great as well. Creature with this trait is a member of the dwarf ancestry, and yada yada yada. They typically have dark vision. An ability with this trait can be used or selected only by dwarves. An item with this trait is created and used by dwarves. There are weapons and armors and other items and stuff that have the dwarf trait. Usually it's on weapons. So as a dwarf, you can be like, I have access to that. Okay. And then there are humanoid, which is usually used for like targeting for spells and stuff and effects. Elf. Elves are kind of frail. So they have 6 hit points at level 1. It's not just 6 hit points at level 1. It's kind of a bit of a misdirection here, because you get at level 1 your hit points are based on your race, your class, I should say your heritage, your class, plus your constitution modifier. So you already have more hit points than, say, a level 1 character in D&D would, which I really like, because losing a character at level 1 just feels awful. Elves are a little bit quicker, so they have 30 feet of speed. Again, the normal is 25. If we look at human, they have 25 speed. Elves, they have good dexterity, fairly good intelligence, and they get a free boost to help you build your character. They do have a flaw in constitution, so yay! And then they have the languages. Funnily enough, they don't have dark vision. They have low light vision. So if there's dim light, they can see it as if it was bright light. Dark vision is you can see in darkness and dim light just as well as in bright light, though it's monochrome. Gnomes have slightly more hit points than elves. They have normal movement speed, they have constitution, charisma, and a free ability score. They're weak, so they have a flaw in strength. Then they have low light vision. Goblins, not a lot of hit points. Oh, gnomes are also small, goblins are small. Goblins have normal movement speed. Goblins are very dexterous, very charming to a certain degree, and then they get a free ability score. They're not very wise. They may end up being intelligent, but they're not the wisest. They will blow crap up, usually in their own faces. And then they have dark vision. Halflings, small, low hit points. Dex, wisdom free, very weak people. They have keen eyes. And this is where we'll get into another thing. Your eyes are sharp, allowing you to make out small details, because they're small people, about concealed or even invisible creatures that others might miss. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus. I'll go into this after I've read this out. When using the seek action, which the seek action is just you trying to perceive something, to find hidden or undetected creatures within 30 feet of you. When you target an opponent that is concealed from you or hidden from you, reduce the DC of the flat check to 3 for a concealed target or 9 for a hidden one. This is another thing that's pretty... It's decent in combat, can slow it down a little bit, but it makes for more dangerous combats. Then you have humans. They don't have a flaw, but they can just choose 2 ability boosts. They have to be different, though. They're kind of harder, and then they have nothing special, because humans can branch out into anything. They're the most versatile, essentially. Fleshier plant people, they have decent hit points. They're small. They have constitution, wisdom, because they like to be aware of their surroundings, and they kind of hardy. They're not very smart though. They have low light vision and plant nourishment. You gain nourishment in the same way that the plants or fungi that match your body type normally do. You can basically be a fungus or a plant. Through some combination of photosynthesis, absorbing minerals with your roots, or scavenging decaying matter, you typically do not need to pay for food. If you normally rely on photosynthesis and go without sunlight for 1 week, you begin to starve. You can derive nourishment from specially formulated bottles of sunlight instead of natural sunlight, but these bottles cost 10 times as much as standard rations. And then it tells you, or 40 silver pieces. So, again, more roleplay stuff as well. Then you have your orcs, who are very hardy. They have the same as humans. They don't have a flaw. They get to choose 2 ability boosts. And then they get dark vision. So, let's just begin with a human, because we can show other things that they have. Then you get a background. And there's quite a lot of them. But as I've said before, some are uncommon, these gold ones, are some are rare, these darker blue ones. So for now, we'll stick with the light blue ones. And if we have a look at Barkeep, which is what it selects automatically on this site for whatever reason, you have 5 specialties: hefting barrels, drinking, polishing steins, drinking, and drinking. You worked in a bar where you learned how to hold your liquor and rowdily socialize. You choose 2 attribute boosts. One must be Constitution or Charisma, and the other one is free. You're trained in the diplomacy skill and alcohol law. Law skills are basically special intelligence skills that allow you to focus on something. I can show you how this works a little bit later. You gain the Hobnobber skill feat. So we'll keep Barkeep because it'll be funny. So on this website, if you look down here, I gained a free feat, Hobnobber, which is what I got from Barkeep. And it tells me, you have to be trained in diplomacy to get it, which we automatically are as part of Barkeep. You are skilled at learning information through conversation. The gather information exploration activity takes you half as long as normal, typically reducing the time to 1 hour. If you're a master in diplomacy and roll a critical failure to gather information, you get a failure instead. There is still no guarantee that the rumor you learn with gather information is accurate. So, we've just been told we've got a specific action that we have access to make things easier. A lot of Pathfinder 2nd edition stuff is it builds upon actions that you already have. Which actions in combat is different. And we'll bring the notepad back. So, actions in combat. In D&D you have your movement, action, bonus action, and reaction. In Pathfinder you have action times 3 reaction. That's it. And everything is based off of this. Like everything. Which I can show you now. So if we go to actions, you will notice everything is selected almost. If we look at the symbols on this symbol is for an action. So during combat, I would like to balance on something. It's counted as a move because everything has a trait, pretty much. Actually, let's go to... No, because it's downtime activity. Let's just go with... anything to do. I'm just trying to think of what might be best. Yeah, you know what? Let's look at grapple. Grapple uses athletics, uses 1 action, counts as an attack, which we will come back to when we talk more about combat. You have at least one hand free and your target is no more than one size larger than you, so you can't grapple. If you're medium, you can't grapple things that are huge. Like you could grapple large, but not huge. The size categories are pretty much the same. Tiny, small, medium, large, huge, gargantuan as 5th edition, so that's easy. You attempt to grab a creature or object with your free hand. Attempt an athletics check against the target's fortitude DC. You can grapple a target you already have grabbed or restrained without having a hand free. Because you already are using a hand. Also, I just need to go back. Sometimes it kicks you out of Foundry. Because I have a server and it just saving its own uptime. But anyway. If you roll a critical success on a grapple, your target is restrained until the end of your next turn unless you move or your target escapes. Success, your target is grabbed until the end of your next turn unless you move or your target escapes. And then fail, you fail to grab your target if you already had the target grabbed or restrained using a grapple. Those conditions on the target end. So basically, if you successfully grappled on the previous turn, on your current turn now, in order to keep them grappled, you have to spend another action to keep them grappled. So you could fail and then they get free, essentially. On a critical failure, if you already have the target grabbed or restrained, it breaks free. Your target can either grab you, as if it succeeded automatically at using the grapple action against you, or force you to fall and land prone, so they can just shove you back, essentially, and off balance. And prone's not a great thing to have, just like in D&D. So you'll notice that this has one action use. High jump has 2 actions. I'm not sure I have any 3 actions. Those are usually spent for other things. But going back to the Hobnobber with where is it? Exploration. So I have this, but it doesn't show up because it's probably an activity. Yeah, gather information, diplomacy. It doesn't have an action cost because it takes a while. So it has secret, so the GM rolls the check for this ability in secret, which is great. However, in Foundry, let's see if I can do it. Exploration. Gather information. You'll notice it's a private GM role. In fact, let me do this instead. Let me just configure ownership. Oh yeah, Jackie's. I asked Jackie to test something. I can go to rejoin the game as a temporary player instead of DM. So it will show you from a player's perspective. And then I can go back. Fortunately, it pauses the music. But we'll deal with it. Because I had to change. I wonder if the music's gonna... There we go. So, my character controls Ulissa. So I can be like moving around and you'll notice dynamic lighting changes, which is great. You'll also notice that I may have already been here, so I can see what the inside looks like, but I can't see the other tokens. So these are just... This is essentially a starting location that I have for people, so they can buy items, essentially. Because these are all merchants. So if I move myself over here... These are all merchants. I'm not sure I can buy it because the DM's technically not in the game. Even though I'm the DM. Anyway, let's go back to this. There you have coffee and I'm human now. Yay, you're human. So, I should also mention that in Pathfinder in Foundry, the system is updated very often by people just doing it for free. And they have this wonderful little thing as part of a mod. I think it's Workbench. Yeah, PF2E Workbench. Basic action macros. So I click this button and it brings up all the stuff that I can potentially do. If it's in blue, I'm trained in it. So it helps me out in that way. So if we go to the exploration, my character has diplomacy, so they can gather information anyway. Sometimes you have to be trained in order to use a skill. In fact, I think I have that as part of another mod, which adds a bunch of stuff down here. Spellcasting, actions, skills. It says I'm untrained, so if you see here, this is grayed out. So I can't create a forgery because I'm not trained in society. Likewise, I'm untrained in medicine, so I can't treat disease, or treat wounds, or treat poison, which this is another great thing. So, I think, yeah, it doesn't even show treat wounds in here for me anymore. Let me just reselect my character. But let me go to exploration, gather information. So you'll notice that it's a blind GM roll. So when I roll this, because I'm now logged in as a player, I won't be able to see the result. But the GM can. Like, even as my own player, I can't see the result because I've sent it to the GM blind. There are other things like gather information where you can change it, but generally you keep the default. But just for example, if I did private GM roll, I would see the result. I want to check something. The DC of the check, yeah, the DM determines it. Whereas there are other things like, let's just go over here. Oh, there's a wall. Oh yeah, there's a wall here, so I technically can't move through it, but there's a door here. So another one, I'm not trained in grapple, but if I zoom back in so you can see, I can target with the letter T is the default. You target your enemy. And I'll, just for an example, where is it? Grapple. I have a +0, so this is probably going to fail. So I click it, I'm targeting that, and I'll roll. So, I've rolled this. Player 1 has a Fortitude DC of 17, which is what I rolled against. I failed, because it automatically takes into account the enemy's stats. Sometimes you can't see them. Like, for example, with this, I think I'm in control of player 1, but if I move over here and target this thing and grapple... Oh god, I rolled a nat 20. Yay! I'm going to roll it again just to do this. I rolled a nat 1. I want a normal roll, please. There we go. Still critical failure. If you look at this, target is player 1. On this side, because I've targeted an actual enemy, not a player character, it doesn't tell me the name of it or anything else, or by how much I failed by or succeeded by. And then it tells me the result. So in this, critical success, target's restrained. Yay! This one, critical failure. It can tell me what happens, and you can click on this inside and look at it. And look at this. and look at what prone does. Then, much like in, like, say, Roll20, though I don't think it applies anything to you other than the icon, you can apply status effects. So let's say on this crit failure, the enemy knocked me prone instead. So I can search for, where is prone? Prone, bunch of stairs. So it's applied this to me, I can see it. As part of prone, you become off guard and take a -2 circumstance penalty to attack rolls. The only move actions you can use while you're prone are crawl and stand. Standing up ends the prone condition. You can take cover while prone to hunker down and gain greater cover against range attacks, even if you don't have an object to get behind. Grants you +4 circumstance bonus to AC, etc., etc. If you've been knocked prone while you're climbing or flying, you fall. You can't be knocked prone while swimming. The game does a very good thing of telling you everything. Which can be overwhelming, but it also means that you know what you're suffering from. And you're not going to sage advice going, what does this mean? And looking what the devs have replied with. And then they contradict themselves a few months later. But anyway, if we then go back into my character, I am off guard. So I have a -2 circumstance penalty to AC. So if I go back, so the game music's going to stop and go back into the DM mode because I need to be able to control an enemy. Just to show, for example, what happens. Because I like showing. As I said, this is all just winging it. I have no plans on how to structure this. So, say if I'm the enemy and I target myself now, the good thing about this for DMs is it puts these down here in this thing for me. So let's just strike. See what happens. Oh, did it actually take into account? It did already. I had 18 AC, now I have 16 because I'm prone. But it shows you here. So Ulissa, AC 18 crossed out, 16? And you could hover over it and it tells you why. Which is awesome. So then the enemy hit me, so I'll roll damage. Roll a 7. The mods and the system that people do are just so good. So, roll a 7, I click damage. Ulissa takes 7 damage. You can see it on my health bar now. Which is awesome. I am going to train... Actually... Yeah, let's train myself in medicine for the moment. And just to show you another thing. I need to go into here. Healer's toolkit. I'm not going to be encumbered. So in order to use an ability called Treat Wounds, which takes 10 minutes, you have to have either a healer's kit or a specific spell or something else, I think, or a healer's plaster. Actually, that is the spell. Never mind. It's a cantrip as well. And you can cast it as part of the action. I can treat wounds on myself. It would take 10 minutes. Treat wounds, medicine, DC, trained. I use medicine. Use selected action. Let's roll it. I got a crit success because I beat the DC by 10. Which is great. And then it rolled it automatically. Instead of 2d8, I rolled 4d8 healing. So now, I healed myself 17. But I didn't have... I basically wasted 10. So It's just like normal overhealing. What else was I going to do then? Oh yeah, just for an example, spell casting. As part of my spell casting, does Glass Shield do the same thing? Yeah. This is one thing that's great. I love it so much. You got a lurk to go shop? Have a great shop. Thank you for the lurk. I appreciate it. Avoid the sun. Spell casting. Actually, let me just take prone off, which automatically takes the off guard off. So let's cast this spell. So as part of this spell, I can raise a shield. This counts as raising a shield and using shield block. So I'm going to drag this onto me, because anything that has this spell effect stuff, you can. So again, a +1 circumstance bonus to AC, and you can shield block with the glass shield. So if we have a look, my AC is now 19 instead of 18. And if we do the same thing again, like if I'm this character, and yeah, well, let's hit me with a glaive. It only just hit me. Hit by 0. So if you roll damage, 7 again. Okay, so now, because I have a shield raised, I can use my reaction. Fairly sure it's using a reaction. Like this. Or maybe not. Okay. I can block the damage. So toggle the shield block status of the selected tokens before applying damage. So it highlighted it, and then we click damage. So instead of taking 7 damage, my shield absorbed 2 of it. So I took 5 damage. I love this system and Foundry so much. Everything's just made so much easier for the player. So much easier. Or like for another thing, say I wanted to cast Rousing Splash on this character. 60 foot. Rousing Splash basically gives temporary hit points. You cause a splash of cold water to descend on an ally's head, granting some temporary vigor. The target gains 1d4 temporary hit points, which lasts for 1 minute. The target is then temporarily immune to the temporary hit points from Rousing Splash for 10 minutes. The target can also attempt an immediate flat check to recover from a single source of persistent acid or fire damage, with the DC reduction from appropriate assistance. And then because this is a cantrip, it scales. So for every +1 to the cantrip level, which is whenever you get your new spell slots, essentially, same as D&D. But not the same cantrip scaling as D&D, because cantrip scaling in D&D is level 5. This increases at level 3, then level 5, then level 7, then level 9, etc. All the way up to cantrip level 9, I think. So I just drag this onto him, and it automatically rolls the 2d4 because it's increased by 1. So player 1 now has 5 temporary hit points from spell effect Rousing Splash. You'll notice he has a bucket of water, and I might need to zoom in a bit far. They have a blue hit point bar. So if I go back here, select you, you're now targeting player 1, we do the glaive. They hit. Damage is 9, but you have 5, so you should take 5 damage. Also, if you zoom in close enough for this, you'll see it pop up. -9 it says, but temporary hit points are gone, and we're missing 4 hit points. So it's all really, really well handled. And I love it. Where were we? Because I got sidetracked. Oh yeah, I got sidetracked during character creation. I'll take the glass shield off now. So, I need to load this back up. So, we've done the barkeep. We'll make a fighter, why not? I'll just move this back. At level 1, we get to set our abilities. One is based on ancestry, which we can do whatever. The class boost generally tells you what your key ability is, and as a fighter, we get the choice of 2. If I was, say, a wizard, it'd be intelligence, because that's their key ability. So let's do a strength-based fighter. Let's give them constitution. Then as part of their background, we have to choose constitution or charisma for this one, because it's part of the barkeep. So then we get a free one. So let's choose strength. The ancestry, if I was a different race, in fact, I can show that. Save to local. Say if I'm a dwarf all of a sudden. Now I have strength, or my choice of one, but I have constitution, wisdom, and a penalty to charisma, which is shown down here. In fact, you know what? We'll stay a dwarf. Why not? So we are going to be strength. Then we have to do constitution. We'll choose strength. Then we have strength from our class. Could be dexterity. And then a rogue's favourite medium armour, hide. Hi FLC, how are you today? I hope you're doing well. As a strength-based fighter, we'll go for strength, constitution. And then let's take some dexterity because it might help. Actually, if we take heavy armor, it won't help. But let's take it anyway. It will help with reflex. And then we get our choice. We could either fix the charisma. We could do wisdom. I should also say that these give a +2. If you improve an ability score that's below 18, it counts as a +2. If it's above 18, it counts as a +1 to the stat. So we can't see this, but this is a 16. Now it's an 18. It's one thing I wish we could see up here on this site, but whatever. So let's go with wisdom. We want to see stuff and be wise about things. And then, because I have 0 intelligence, my skill training is fairly limited. Like, we got diplomacy and alcohol law for free from barkeep. But that's based on charisma. So maybe we go back and fix the charisma. And honestly, dwarves get a decent amount of constitution. So let's refix it. We're a barkeep. We want to talk to people. So now we have a better diplomacy. We have +4, which is not that great. We'll probably take athletics, society, which is intelligence based, but we want to know things about people. And then really whatever we want to do. We have 1 remaining skill point. Like, we could do crafting, make our own beer, or we could do medicine to heal people. Kind of like, oh yeah, we're a bar, but in the back we heal people from maybe a mafia or some sort. Let's do that. And then we also get a class skill. Since I basically get the choice of 2. In fact, does it tell me that? Fighter. Yeah, trained in your choice of acrobatics or athletics. And then 3 plus your intelligence modifier that we get to choose. So we already have athletics, so we have to take acrobatics. And then this is all my skills. In this website, at least. But there's something great that I'm going to show you, hopefully. We have dark vision. As a fighter, we have reactive strike, which is an attack of opportunity. Not everyone has attack of opportunity. In fact, fighter pretty much is the only one to have it at like level 1. I'm fairly sure there are some things that can get it for other things, but it's also a better use of attack of opportunity. So, reactive strike. I wonder if I can do that in here, just to show it a little bit better, rather than all tucked away. Yeah, here we go. Trigger. A creature within your reach uses a manipulate action, so kind of like somatic, or just using, say, an item like a potion, or an elixir, or a move action. Makes a ranged attack or leaves a square during a move action it's using, as long as it's within your reach. So normally in D&D, it's just this part. That's all it is. Just this. That's all D&D gets. Pathfinder, you get so much more. You lash out at the foe that leaves an opening. Make a melee strike against the triggering creature. If your attack is a critical hit and the trigger was a manipulate action, you disrupt the action, so the enemy loses it. This strike doesn't count towards your multiple attack penalty, and your multiple attack penalty doesn't apply to this strike. I'll get into that later with more combat. So, as a fighter, we get attack of opportunity as part of the kit for fighter. Next, we need to choose a heritage. So, what type of dwarf are we? And there's a bunch of different things we can choose. Like the common ones are Ayuvarin. You have elves or possibly others in your family tree. So you could be an elf dwarf. You gain the elf trait, the Ayuvarin trait, and low light vision. In addition, when you gain an ancestry feat, you can choose from the elf ones. So, yeah, you could be half elf, half dwarf. You could be ancient blooded. Dwarven heroes of old could shrug off their enemies as magic, and some of that resistance manifests in you. You gain the Call on Ancient Blood reaction. So, as a reaction and trigger, you attempt a saving throw against a magical effect, but you haven't rolled yet. Your ancestors' innate resistance to magic surges before slowly ebbing down. You gain a +1 circumstance bonus to saving throws on the triggering save and other saves against magical effects until the end of this turn. So you just get a +1 bonus saving throws until the end of this turn, which usually means the creature that's attacking you. And we can get into this later on, that they can do more than one spell cast in a turn. But I should probably go on to bonuses. Now, I forget what sort of bonuses D&D gets, other than like proficiency and stuff. But in Pathfinder, you get circumstance bonus, item bonus, status bonus. Fairly sure there's more. I want to say there's like 5 different ones. EF2E bonuses, or bonus types. Oh no, there's 4. Oh, there's 3 of them, sorry. I was right. But there's 5 penalties? Oh. Well, this was 2 years ago, though. Oh, you also get untyped, which just adds, which is awesome. But if you have 2 circumstance bonuses, you take the highest. You don't add them together. If you have 2 item bonuses, you take the highest. Status bonus, you take the highest. Untyped, I think you just add. Some of these things I'm not entirely sure of, but it just works. And Foundry takes it into account very easily for you. That would be an anvil dwarf, crafting. Other dwarves might consider this a blessing from the ancestors or from the forge father himself, depending on where you grew up. You become trained in crafting, or another skill if you were already trained in crafting, and gain the specialty crafting skill feat. But you can pick 2 different specialties instead of 1. One of them is not being able to skip ad breaks. So we're going to wait. I'm going to have a sippy sip. I'm going to go get a snack because I'm peckish all of a sudden. I'll be right back. Whoop. Whoop. You know what? It's sunny for once, so I'm going to have an ice cream. I have cornetto. What FLC? Okay, we're back. So basically, if I choose the Anvil Dwarf because of how this site works, I just now have another skill training that just appeared. So if I clear this, it goes away. If I add Anvil Dwarf, because I'm already trained, or I was already trained in craft. No, I wasn't. So I get to choose this. So I'm now trained in crafting. Here's where more traits appear and stuff, because everything has a trait, literally everything. Your ancestors were tomb guardians and their power to ward off death passed on to you. If you roll a success on a saving throw against an effect that has the void trait, or was created by an undead creature, you get a critical success instead, which most of the time means you suffer no ill effects on a critical success on a saving throw. Dromar, you're now a half orc, half dwarf. You gain the orc trait, you gain low light vision, and then you can choose ancestry feats from orc. Elemental, you Choose one of the following damage types: acid, cold, electricity, or fire. It can't be changed once chosen. You gain the energy emanation activity. I don't even know what that is. Let's have a look. It costs 2 actions. Once per day, energy bursts forth from your body. You deal 1d6 damage of your chosen type to all adjacent creatures. Basic reflex save. Using your class DC or spell DC, whichever is higher. At 3rd level and every 2 levels thereafter, the damage increases by 1d6. So imagine like a breath weapon from a Dragonborn, but it scales every 2 levels. If we were to compare it to D&D. And then we have Forged Dwarf. They gain fire resistance equal to half your level. Resistance works differently to, say, 5e, where it's just like you take half damage. No, resistance in Pathfinder is you reduce the amount by the amount of fire resistance you have. So say if I took 5 fire damage and I had 2 fire resistance, I would take 3 fire damage. But then they can also live in hot places. Forge Blessed Dwarf. So kind of like an Anvil Dwarf, except they basically become like half a cleric. You can cast the 1st level spell that grant clerics, such as Soothe, as an innate divine spell once per week. I'm fairly sure all innate spells use your charisma modifier, whereas a cleric would be using their wisdom modifier. So Oathkeeper Dwarf, so this is kind of like a paladin, I guess. Even I've not seen through everything. You gain a +1 circumstance bonus to perception and checks to sense motive, and to perception DCs against attempts to lie to you. Furthermore, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to diplomacy checks to convince others you speak the truth when you are telling the truth. And you take a -4 penalty to lie and to your deception DC against sense motive. So you can see through other people's crap, but other people can see through your crap. Rock Dwarf, they're just harder to be moved. And if something would move you, you only move half the distance. Unless it's 5 feet, then you just get moved that. You gain poison resistance, which is typical dwarf stuff, but you reduce stages of poison afflictions by 2 when you succeed. Or a virulent poison. I've not encountered these myself yet. Imagine it's only a matter of time. But yeah, all of this is pretty good. Then we get to choose the ancestry feat. So for example, let's do Anvil Dwarf like I did before, choose crafting. Ancestry feat. Again, uncommons we're not going to choose, because some of them can be basically have a regional requirement, which might not be in your campaign. This is one of the really good things about Pathfinder, for example, with this feat. Clan's Edge costs 2 actions. You need to be trained in clan daggers, which we automatically are as a dwarf. By moving your clan dagger with rapid precision, you can protect yourself more effectively. Make 2 clan dagger strikes against different targets. Your multiple attack penalty applies normally to these strikes, which is okay. You then use an interact action to gain the +1 circumstance bonus to your EC from your clan dagger's parrying trait. So normally you would essentially do a strike and a strike as two separate actions, and then an interact action is your third action. This combines all these three actions into two actions, so it just makes your character more efficient in what they already do, which is great. Another one is, let's just cancel out of that class feat. Sudden charge. I know this one. So, with a quick sprint, this is a fighter feat. You dash up to your foe and swing. You stride twice. Basically, a stride is a move action. You can't break up a move action like in D&D. That's one thing that I think a lot of people won't like, but it works well with how this builds upon itself, this system. So you stride twice, which is two actions. If you end your movement within melee reach of at least one enemy, you can make a melee strike against that enemy. So that's a third action, but it only costs you two actions because it's part of this, which I love. I love it so much, and you can use it while burrowing, climbing, flying, or swimming instead of striding if you have the corresponding movement type, which is a whole other thing. There are other things to note, though. As I said, everything has a trait. Flourish, because this is a new one. Actions with the Flourish trait are special techniques that require too much exertion for you to perform frequently. You can use only one action with the Flourish trait per round. So, if you had another one, you wouldn't be able to use it after this. Which I don't think there is at level 1. So whatever. Oh, another thing that I'll show you that's great, like combat assessment. This just includes something that I'm going to show you. You make a telegraphed attack to learn about your foe. Make a melee strike. On a hit, you can immediately attempt a check to recall knowledge about the target. On a critical hit, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to the check to recall knowledge. The target is temporarily immune to combat assessment for 1 day. If we go back into here, and I'm going to switch it back to player temporarily. Because there's a certain action that you can take called recall knowledge about enemies, essentially. So let me just select Ulissa, and we'll target this middle one. Recall knowledge. It's hidden from me completely. So I don't know what results I've got. Whereas, I'm sorry for the music, but let's change the music. What do we have? Oh, I can't do it here. I have to be the DM. Duh. Okay, so I don't have a lot of law skills, and the training dummy doesn't have any applicable knowledge skills. How do I add these? I don't know how I can change this to add anything. Unless it's just based on the traits. Oh yeah, it's based on the traits. Oh, that's cool. That's something I've learned. I just made these as something that the players can hit. But if we look, that roll that I made as Ulissa, that I couldn't see as the player, we have this. I don't know what the first, second, third, or fourth is. I'm not sure of that, but we see that I rolled a 16 on the dice. But then, if it's anything to do with astrology, which I'm trained with, the result is 26. Yeah, let's just add some traits to this. What traits do I have? What skills? I do have occultism. So let's just add aberration. So if we target you, because I'm the DM, I'll be able to see this. Oh, we got a critical success. Oh, I know what this is. This is to make it more difficult, depending if I want to do it on the fly. Like, because what level this is, I can be like, oh yeah, the DC would be higher, or what circumstances. So it just adds like a plus, a DC 16 and plus 2, then plus 3 to that, and then plus 5. It just gets more difficult. As I said, there's some things I don't know, especially on the DMing side. But yeah. Let's go back to this. Because recall knowledge is great. Reactive shield. Oh, that's cool. Let's just take... Let's do vicious swing. Because this will show you something else that we can do. So we'll take an ancestry feat and let's have a look. Oh, that's cool. I mean, we're a barkeep, so what would make more sense? Oh yeah, it would be better. But also we could just do Dwarven Law. Yeah, let's just do Dwarven Law, which means we get more skill training, which is great. We'll do Survival and Religion. Not another one, Johnny, no! So, one of the real good things that I have is a mod on my Foundry VTT. So if we go to share copy of character, I get given these numbers. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new party member, stream test, and see if this works. So we have stream test. And then those numbers, I'm going to go to Path Muncher. And unfortunately, it's not doing this. Let's just copy that. So we have 1050. No, that's not the right thing. Why is that not the right thing? Oh, here we go. It's a different one. So we have 324165. 324165. Import. So hopefully we see it working. It's select a specialty. I guess I'll choose alchemy. That's probably the closest thing for I get to choose another one for a barkeep. I'm gonna do tailoring. Actually, yeah, let's do tailoring. It basically asks us, it's asking us to do this. Acrobatic skills work a little bit differently, kinda. And it's finished. So everything that I did on this site, we have all the feats it's chosen for us. It's done all the skills for us. Nothing else, because we didn't choose anything else. And we start with 15 gold. Which is great. We also have we should have a clan dagger. So we'll go to weapons and shields. Clan. There we go. Clan dagger. Because I never added it to my inventory before. So we now have a clan dagger. Which means in the actions, I can now draw a knife. And then let's just draw there an unknown adventurer. So one thing to note about combat in Pathfinder is because of how it works with strikes. If I was already in melee range, because I have 3 actions, if I attack this, let's do a strike. Oh, crit hit, nice, because we beat it by 11. We only need to beat it by 10 for it to be a crit hit, or a nat 20 to be a crit hit. However, there are some occasions where even if you roll a nat 20, if you don't beat the armor class, it's not going to be a crit. It would just be normal damage, I think. So we'll roll critical attack. So we roll 2d4 plus 8, because it doubles everything. And we have 4 strength. And then for the next attack, we would get what's called a map, multiple attack penalty. Normally, it's -5, but because a clan dagger has the agile trait, the multiple attack penalty you take with this weapon on the second attack on your turn is -4 instead of -5. And -8 instead of -10 on the third and subsequent attacks in the turn. You can only get a map twice, essentially. So if I manage to get another action through, like haste, for example, I could attack 4 times potentially. So we roll this, and I miss, because I missed by -2, because I had my +4 strength by +4 as I'm an expert in weapons, but -4 from the multiple attack. Hi GIF, how are you today? I hope you're doing well. And then if I attacked again, I would get a -8 to my multiple attack penalty, and I missed by 1. If I managed to get another attack through an effect or something, I would still roll with the maximum map. it doesn't go any further than that. But there are other things, like we've got this vicious swing, which I can put into chat. You unleash a particularly powerful attack that clubbers your foe but leaves you a bit unsteady. Make a melee strike. This counts as 2 attacks when calculating your multiple attack penalty. If this strike hits, you deal an extra die of weapon damage. If you're at least 10th level, increase this to 2 extra dice. And if you're at least 18th level, increase it to 3. Did I just say GIF? No, GIF. So if I wanted to use Vicious Swing, for example, I could just tick this. So then I strike. I got another freaking crit, which is going to be great because it uses 2 attacks, counts as 2 attacks when calculating your multiple attack penalty, but it's only 1 attack. So if I roll this, it's going to be quite a lot of dice. Because deal an extra. Oh yeah, so because it's a crit, the dagger dice got doubled, but then the extra dice from this ability also got doubled. So I'm now rolling 4d4 plus 2 times my strength. So I just did 19 damage with a knife. But it means that it counts as 2 attacks when calculating your multiple attack penalty. So if I use my 3rd action then to attack, it would be at map. Technically -10, but it's -8. So it's now a crit miss. There's nothing unfortunate with a crit miss when you're attacking, potentially. I think certain enemies might be able to get an ability that if you crit miss, they could be like, no, I do this instead. But everything's really, really nice with it. So now, if we go back to here, and I'll close this. That's level 1 kind of sorted. We didn't choose any weapons. The best thing about fighters is they start with expert in weapons, which means they essentially get a +2 to attack rolls over everybody else. We don't have any armor, we don't have any gear, spells, pets, details, feats, and then the list of all our actions. This updates with whatever you get, so like Vicious Swing should now be on here. Whereas if I clear it, now it's gone. But I really like using this site to help build, and then I can just manually transfer or do what we did with the mod, because Foundry is very moddable. But weapons, so I should have here 15 gold. So what type of weapon would we have? Again, we're ignoring all the uncommon, essentially. We can have simple or martial. There are certain ones that we can take, kinda. If they have the dwarven trait, which I forget which ones do. But if they have a racial trait, they're usually uncommon. Is it a blunderbuss? No, it's just... I know there are some... Like, this is got goblin, so a goblin could essentially buy it if they wanted to spend 10 gold. They're probably elven. No. You can have a gun sword. Legally distinct gun blade. A harmonica gun. Oh, harmonica, Jesus. Harmona. You could have an actual katana, or a kama, or a kopesh, or a kusarigama, which I like that weapon. Or a makuatil. Or a naginata. I love the Japanese style weapons in games. But my favourite's always going to be a great axe. Because they're great. But there's so many different options you can do. And as I said, everything has a trait. So yeah, you know what? Let's just go boring. And go with my favourite weapon. I assume it's in here. Great axe. So it has a sweep effect. This weapon makes wide sweeping or spinning attacks, making it easier to attack multiple enemies. When you attack with this weapon, you gain a +1 circumstance bonus to your attack roll if you already attempted to attack a different target this turn using this weapon. Oh, god damn it, FLC. So, with this sight, you can just give yourself the item, or if you're planning at level 1, you can buy it, and it will use up 2 of my 15 gold. So let's just go into defense real quick. We're going to change this. Heavy. There's not too many options we can take, because usually these are all levels, and usually you're limited to item level 0 or 1. So we could get splint mail for 13, which is all of our money, or half plate, which we can't afford. And then there's some that are special, like we can't take the inventor power suit heavy because we're not an inventor. It's a class ability, that's why it costs 0. So we're probably going to take medium armor just so we can afford it. Like chainmail. It gives you an AC bonus of 4 with a dex cap of 1. I think. Did I give myself any dex? I gave myself 1 dex. So, good on me. So if we go to this, we can do chainmail, which is AC 4 and 1. Check penalty in Pathfinder is if you don't meet the strength requirement, so +3, you take that penalty to a couple of them. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's probably like stealth and acrobatics and athletics, maybe. You also take a penalty to speed. However, if you meet the strength, you don't take this penalty, and you reduce this penalty by 5 feet. So if this speed penalty was 10 and we made the strength requirement, it would be a speed penalty 5 instead. So we would lose 5 feet of movement, which we're a dwarf. There's things that we can do to mitigate this. So we may just stick with that speed penalty of 5. Chainmail, but then you could also go for like coral plate potentially, which has exactly the same stuff, but it's aqua dynamic. Is this one? This armor is designed for use underwater with streamlined design and buoyant materials used in strategic places. You don't apply the armor's check penalty to acrobatics or athletics checks in water or similar liquids, which is great. Again, we can't take the inventor stuff. Some other things are also based on like a racial thing. Yes, swimmingly. Hell Knights are amazing. They're just like scary paladins. Breastplate. Oh, chainmail was also flexible. The armor is flexible enough that it doesn't hinder most actions. You don't apply its check penalty to acrobatics or athletics, so that's fine. It's also noisy. The armor's check penalty applies to stealth checks even if you meet the required strength score. Let's just go for a breastplate. It's more expensive, but we don't have the 2 other traits. So buy. Which means we have 5 gold left. So we would want like a backpack. Oh, never mind. Delete that. Add gear. I think there's a backpack in here. Maybe. Oh, it'll be gear. Backpack. Costs 1 silver. Buy that. So now we have 4 gold and 9 silver. Backpacks are a little bit different. They're kind of pseudo bags of holding, just not as much. So a backpack holds up to 4 bulk of items. Weight in Pathfinder is measured in bulk, and it's not always about the weight. It can sometimes be about the size and essentially scope of it. So like a ladder could be really bulky, even if it's lightweight, potentially. And backpacks in particular, the first 2 bulk of the items don't count against your bulk limits. So as long as you're storing it in the backpack, it doesn't count. If you're carrying or stowing the pack rather than wearing it on your back, its bulk is light instead of negligible. So negligible weight. In fact, this will be easier to show on this side. So let me just do container backpack. So we drag this in, and now we have a backpack. And 1 backpack. So you see its bulk was light, now it's nothing. So we have a maximum bulk of 14. We become encumbered at 9 bulk because we're strong. So right now I have 1 item that's counting towards my bulk, and it's light. 10 light items equals 1 bulk. It's very simple. That's all you need to know. So where's armor? We decided on breastplate, I think. So if I drag that over, I'm not actually wearing it yet, I don't think. 1 armor. So now my AC's gone up to 18 from 14. I'm not even sure how it was 14. How did that work? Hang on. How did I get 40? Oh, because I'm trained in it. Yeah. I'm trained, I have +3. And Dex. Because I'm... Right. That's how I had 14. How is the game going? It's not really a game, it's just talking about the game and explaining. So... But it's going well, I think. I'm enjoying it. But I love talking about Pathfinder. So the armor class is 10 plus my level, because I'm trained in it, plus the training, which is a +2, so that's +3, plus my 1 Dex, which makes it 14 AC. Now it's 18 because breastplate. There we go. Gives a +4 bonus, but it also has a Dex thing. So the Dex cancels out in what we worked out before, so we're literally just getting the +4 bonus. All the knowledge! I just basically people that I talk to just don't want to learn a new system, which is fine because it can be quite a lot. But when that system that they want to play is 5e, I just have to disagree. I must turn them to the good Pathfinder 2nd edition. So now we'll notice that I've got 2 bulk plus 1 light down here. So I'm nowhere near encumbered, but another one we could do is not that. Consumables. Let's go for rations, which costs 4 silver. And you get a week's worth of rations, and it's light bulk. So now we're up to 2. I'm a smart wizard. We're building a fighter. Wizards, I'll have to show eventually because of the spellcasting rules, because that's probably another thing that people might not like because of how Pathfinder does it, but I think it makes it better. And it aligns perfectly with what type of casters they are. Just untarget that. So we have a backpack, we have rations. There are certain what's the word I'm looking for? Kits. Like class kits. Let's just take this off. Oh, kit. Here we go. Adventurer's pack. What do you have in? This item is the starter kit for an adventurer, containing the essential items for exploration and survival. The bulk value is for the entire pack together, but see the description of individual items as necessary. Sometimes with this, you can just be like, bam. And it just includes everything. So we could technically delete this backpack because there's nothing in it, and now we have this. This is just how good the system is that people work on for free for Pathfinder. So we'll have a look at this. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bulk inside this backpack. But you'll notice my bulk hasn't increased because the backpack doesn't count the first 2 bulk. So let's get the great axe. So now I have a great axe, which is 2 bulk. If I were to stow this, we had 10 bulk. We had 1 bulk in here, and it doesn't count the first 2. So adding the great axe to it, which is 2 bulk, takes it to 3 bulk. So that 1 bulk would carry over, and now we have, instead of 2 bulk, 1 light, we have 3 bulk, 1 light because of this. If we hold this 2 hands, it's now 4 bulk. And it gets a bit getting used to because it's just counts bulk instead of like, oh, 2 pounds, 4 pounds, whatever. They use their own system, and I like it. We also now have a great axe in here. You can use a free action to change your grip on the great axe to one-handed, which means you can't attack with it. Does that update? Yeah, it takes off the attack buttons. But it means you then have a hand free to like grapple or potentially trip someone up or something like that. But it does cost you an action to re-grip your weapon. So this is my unknown adventurer. Now we can attack with this. And we miss. Oh, another fun thing. Most games play with hero points, which is like inspiration, but you use it after the roll. And you could only use 1 per turn. So if you look up here, I have hero points. The way my group does it, I don't know if other group does it, but we get 1 hero point at the start of the session, and then we gain 1 every hour. But you can only have a maximum of 3. So I've just missed this. I right-click, re-roll using a hero point, and now I've got a critical hit instead. So now I'm dealing... Oh, I still had Vicious Swing checked. So now I'm dealing 4d12 plus 8 damage, 25. And then we can see a breakdown of what we rolled if we wanted to. I guess another thing that I can talk about is magic items, especially for weapons. Because, again, it's another good system. So let's edit the Great Axe. I could do this as a player as well. In fact, let me just... Unknown Adventurer... Figure ownership. Give it to me. Just to show you. So we will change the music because we've listened to this for a while. Ah! Oh, we need to stop that. Do. These are from Pathfinder. Speaking with Vinci. Oh, they're all playlists, aren't they? Duh. So I could do... What's this one sound like? That's a bit ominous. Sure, let's keep it. Let's join the game as player. And reload. Because it always has to reload when I change from DM to player. Da-da. Okay, so I use the hero point, but let's give it me back. Now everything's in blue because that's what column this character is for me, to tell the difference. Like the DM rolling stuff is in black for enemies because my favorite color other than purple. But let's go into the Great Axe that we have. I think I could change it. Yeah, I can. Okay, so with how Pathfinder works for magic items, there's runes, and the runes are what give your items the magical properties. There's property runes which give them a bunch of fun stuff, but then there's fundamental runes. Fundamental runes don't count towards the total runes that you're allowed to put on an item, but one of those fundamental runes is what is counted for how many property runes you can put on it. So if we have a look, potency rune becomes a +1. So we could put a striking rune on this because it doesn't count, and this increases the amount of dice the weapon has. So I don't know if it shows here. I can just roll the damage. Oh, here it is. Instead of the 1d12 plus 4 slashing, it's now 2d12. which lets martial characters scale so much better. So that might be a little loud. Or at least this for me. And you can get striking, greater striking. So now this is 3d12. Major striking, 4d12. This is usually the end one, and then you can go higher. So it'd be 5d12, which is nuts, the amount of damage you can get. Let's stop it. Oh. You're supposed to play forever. Okay. So when we had the potency rune to make it a +1 weapon, also it is starting to change the rarity. So like this is common. Now if we go greater, still common, major, still common, but as soon as we went mythic, it became rare. I think this doesn't change it either just yet. Now it's rare again. We put a property rune on it, so what should we have? Let's have flaming. So now we've just turned this great axe into a +1 striking flaming great axe. It automatically did this. You can change its name though, if you want. And its item level has gone up to 8 because of the runes that we've put on it. So what this means is we target the training dummy again. If I strike with this, it's now a +10 instead of +9. We hit, so I'll roll damage, which it now is showing me. It's 2d12 because of the striking rune, and it's also 1d6 because of the flaming rune that's added onto it. So now we did a total of 21 damage. We did 18 slashing and 3 fire. I'm fairly sure the flaming rune also does something on a crit. So I'm just going to roll again. See if we can get a crit. There we go, crit. I probably could have just rolled critical. So now, this is another fun thing. Everything doubles in damage. But you'll notice we've got another entry here compared to before, which is persistent fire damage. So we're now doing 4d12 plus 8, because that's double our strength, plus 2d6 because the flaming rune, plus 1d10 persistent fire damage. Now, I can't apply this because I'm not the DM right now. So only it can do it. But we will go back. Because persistent just means it's on fire. And it will take fire damage every turn. And there's other types of persistent damage as well. Like, I know one of the players in my current game can do persistent mental damage. So essentially it gives an enemy a migraine. Okay, the music started again. Oh, it's not on loop. Okay. Also, the volume is based on the person that uses it, that changes it, not the... Well, I turned this down as a player, but I'm not sure because I know I can change it as a player. So anyway, the training dummy. As the DM, I click the damage that it takes. So now, it took 36 damage, because it took all of it, funnily enough, let's just... I can give it resistances. Let's give it resistance to, say, slashing damage. Let's give it resistance 5. I think. That did not do it. Oh, I didn't save it because I'm an idiot. Slashing. 5. Save. So now it has 5 resistance to slashing damage. If I undo this, which is another thing, it basically undid everything. I don't have the persistent damage either. Now it took 31 damage. But I have it hidden so the players can't see exactly what it didn't take damage from. They just see that it took less damage than it should. So are they like, does it have resistance to fire damage? Does it have resistance to slashing? They would be able to work out that it has resistance to slashing because of how much we did. Because we did 5 damage less, but we only did 4 fire damage. So it has to be slashing. Unless it's multiple of them. Like it could be 1 slashing, 4 fire resistance. So players can kind of guess where it's coming from, even if they don't see what it actually took. And then persistent fire damage is up here. You are taking damage from an ongoing effect, such as from being lit on fire. This appears as X persistent type damage, where X is the amount of damage dealt and type is the damage type. Like normal damage, it can be doubled or halved based on the results of an attack roll or a saving throw. Instead of taking persistent damage immediately, you take it at the end of each of your turns, as long as you have the condition. Rolling any damage dice anew each time. After you take persistent damage, roll a DC 15 flat check to see if you recover from it. So this has changed to a dice roll by the looks of it anyway, but I could also roll here, I think. So as DM, I'm like, I take the damage. Sometimes it's automatic, and you can set it up as automatic. In fact, I think I might have it as that, but I haven't done combat, so we'll toggle their combat. Extreme. Oh yeah. Can I just roll all of them? Combat. I'm fairly sure there was a button. Let's begin encounter. Where I could... Oh, roll all there. Ding, ding, ding. That's a little loud. For me it is. So, the training dummy has 999 health, essentially. But, I just want to show this. So, it's the training dummy's turn. Next turn. It did the damage. So I do that. And then I manually roll. It says critical failure, but it doesn't mean anything. So I took 9 damage. Damn, I rolled high on that. It's 1d10. Let's just skip the turn. And it reminds me that I have persistent damage on this character. Take 2 damage, roll recovery. Still a failure. So you can see just how deadly it can be. Still has persistent damage. Like, I applied this once, and because it's not recovering again, it's taking so much extra damage. And then a success, and now it's gone. So we're no longer on fire. Or this training dummy is no longer on fire. I am going to end the encounter. if I remember how. Hi, Vent. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. What if you flip the table? That's why would you damage a table? Does that give me anything extra? I mean, you can attack with improvised weapons. Jesus, I couldn't remember the name. But the music has now stopped. This should be playing something. Oh, I stopped it completely. Stolen land. Trouble always. Blood for blood. What's this? I love just playing the random music. Also, ads in progress, so I will wait. I'm just testing things myself. See even I love what gets added. Okay. So, where to go from next? I've just been testing things myself. There are certain effects that, like, if you hide, you become concealed, sometimes hidden. So, say if the enemy is hidden, if I look from my not hidden, concealed, which is like a step down from hidden, you might know they're there, and you can try and attack them, but you have to roll a flat check, which is just a d20, no modifier. If they're concealed, it's a DC 5. If they're hidden, it's a DC 11. So as we look, this hits because it's. I haven't done everything, but this attack would hit. But I have to roll the check to even attack them or target them. And there's a handy little button here. So this would work. I would hit them. However, if the enemy was hidden instead of concealed, now I love how it changes how they look as well. It's so good. I enjoy TTRPGs. Me too. High rewards. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. So let's just do vicious. So if we strike, it's barely a hit. But it's DC 11 on the flat check to hit them. So I do hit them. So then we just do damage as normal. Again, I'd hit them again. I'm just practicing, seeing... I can't not hit them, apparently. There we go. So, this would have hit if I could target them in the first place. D&D next week! Ooh. Tell us everything about your character. Now. But yeah, I also should point out I am taking questions if people want to know more about specific things with Pathfinder 2nd Edition. His name is... Oh yeah, you mentioned the Total Paladin. It sounds so cute. Oath of the Ancients. Is he ancient? Is that why it's an Oath of the Ancients? What else is there to talk about now? We've done basic character creation, talking about action economy and stuff. How Foundry takes into account almost everything when targeting. Plays the flute despite having no lips and kind of clay hands. That's impressive. Let's take that off. Oh, invisible? Can I even... Does that come with its own thing? I don't know. DC 11 still. So that would have been a crit hit if I could target them. You voluntarily nerfed his weapon because your DM gave you a huge +4 damage on a hammer, which is way too big. Yeah. Funnily enough, if it was Pathfinder, it'd be like, oh, +4, that's fine. Because I've just talked about weapons. Oh, I didn't mention the best thing about items. A lot of them have runes on them. You can literally take those runes off at a cost, though most people don't do that, and apply it to something else. So say, for example, I picked up, I don't know, let's just give me... say we had Nat Lattle, whatever, that had +1 striking, and it had, say, shock, whatever. And we had nothing on my great axe. Say if we picked up this Atlatl, but no one uses clubs or anything. Oh, actually, Atlatl's a ranged weapon, isn't it? I forgot. It launches arrows. Anyway, say we had this, but no one could use it or uses it. Everyone has another weapon. You could essentially do, I think it's a crafting check, but it's not particularly high, to take the runes off and apply it to another item. So we could be like, okay, we take the potency rune and the shock rune off of this. So now it has nothing. and nothing. And say we take the striking rune off it as well. We went from having that buffed up at Lattle that we might just throw away potentially because no one used it, but we turned our Great Axe into a striking shock Great Axe. You destroyed most enemies while your friends took turns trying to take down one. Damn. Flex. But also, since you're talking about your paladin having a +4 damage on an item, Pathfinder scales its martial characters stupidly well. Like, they keep up with spellcasters. Spellcasters will still deal a lot more in AoE, but even then, some martials can get AoE attacks. So, a striking rune basically adds 1 damage die to the weapon. So, you say having a +4 damage on the hammer is a lot because it's D&D 5th edition. Now this Great Axe, would hit, deals 2d12 plus 1d6. Spellcasters any good earlier though? I mean, to a certain degree, so they did 24 damage. Here's my witch character, not fully leveled from what it is in our campaign. I am level 4, but I haven't... In fact, you know what, screw it. I can just build my character real quick. Okay, what feats did I take? Level 3. Ancestral Paragon. Oh, that's something I can do. Join the game. Oh, I am on DM. Great. This is time of day. Now it's nighttime and raining. My character only has low light vision. Also, that rain is kind of obnoxiously loud. To me, at least. It's soothing because I love rain sounds. So, it's the middle of the night. My character might be able to hear these, but she can't see them. So technically they're all hidden from her. Or concealed from her. However, one thing that I got as part of my character is I did Ancestral Paragon. There we go, Ancestral Paragon. Drag that to this. And then it asked me to pick one. I chose Aquatic Eyes, which gave me Dark Vision. So now I can see these, except for this one, because this one is actually invisible. So I'll take that off. So everything's in monochrome because of my Dark Vision. But it updated automatically based on my character sheet. Rewards! Nails are getting too long. Okay, and then I got Archetype. Oh yeah, Basic Dogma. Let's do this real quick. Basic Dogma. Because I haven't gone into Archetype yet. And I did Domain Initiate, but this is different, so I'm closing this to do that, because I could set it up manually, because I asked my DM if I could do something different. Then we do Magic Crafting, and this is my character almost done. Bapanado. Welcome back, both of you. I forgot you both went to the shop. And this is basic cleric spellcasting. Okay. So I've not done the spellcasting yet. Beep bloop. Did you get his stuff? Okay. Basic clerics. When it comes to multi-classing, in Pathfinder. In fact, I'll show this because it's easier to show. At level 2, you can get, instead of taking a class feat, you can take what's called a dedication feat, which there's a lot. This is basically the multi-classing. You have to be level 2 to do it. Like, there's no lower level than that. However, most groups run with something called the free archetype rule, where at level 2 you get an extra feat, and at level 4 and at level 6. So you essentially get to multi-class for free, but it's not how D&D does multi-classing. So if we look at the cleric dedication, I need to have a wisdom +2, which is basically 14 wisdom, which I know D&D has like requirements like that, which is fine. You can cast spells like a cleric. You gain the cast a spell activity. You can prepare 2 common cantrips each day from the divine spell list. You can change cantrips every day. Or any other divine cantrips you have access to. There's special things, and if you homebrew them. You're trained in the spell attack modifier and spell DC statistics. Your key spellcasting attribute for cleric archetype spells is wisdom, and they are divine cleric spells. You choose a deity as you would a cleric. You become bound by that deity's anathema and can receive that deity's divine sanctification. My deity is, for this character, if I can remember how to spell it. is Lysianasa. There we go. So I'll bring this over. She's basically an elemental deity. She's kind of trapped at the moment, so we won't go into that. I just get my power from her. Her anathema is, if you dam a river, disrespect sincere gifts of water or drink, or pollute clean bodies of water. Essentially, if you do any of that, you lose your cleric powers until you can do a certain ritual to cleanse yourself. And your edicts are change to avoid stagnation, so you're like a flowing river. You promote life and growth. You respect and aid the flow of natural cycles, and you swim. So, like, for me, my character's not afraid of death or people dying, because that's the natural flow. So, where were we? This one. You become trained in religion and your deity's associated skill. So if we bring this back, divine skill is survival. You can only be a healing font. There's healing or harm, but this mostly applies to just being a cleric. For each of these skills in which you were already trained, you instead become trained in a skill of your choice. You don't gain any other abilities from your choice of deity. So, with the multi-classing at level 2, I only got 2 cantrips. That's it. I think I could have potentially gotten more. No, it's level 4. So I had to wait till level 4 to get anything more from my multi-classing. But it didn't stop me from getting my normal class stuff. It's not a do this or this. Because of the free archetype feat, you get to branch out into another class's stuff while still doing your own. However, there is a special rule that says that instead of taking a class feat for your class, so for me it's a witch, is my class, you can take a dedication or an archetype feat. Another thing to note is with dedications, you have to take 2 other feats from that dedication before you can go into another archetype. And it doesn't count the dedication feat. So if you look here, I skipped my class feat at level 4 to get basic cleric spellcasting. You gain the basic spellcasting benefits. You can prepare your deity spells in your spell slots of the appropriate rank from the cleric archetype. And then I get a special focus spell, which is a bit... It's really, really good. It's like a regenerating spell slot, essentially. And I'll show you that in a second. But I took Basic Dogma, which gave me a Cleric feat, which I chose Domain Initiate. I could have chosen from any of these, but I want to choose this. So, into spells, which I know a lot of D&D players probably won't like to a certain degree. But for prepared spellcasters in Pathfinder, you literally have to prepare. You'd love to see more, but you have to go back to work. I'm talking about spellcasting, you asked. But I understand. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. But yeah, you literally have to prepare. You don't get to be like, oh, I prepare like a D&D cleric. Like, you get a certain amount based on your wisdom modifier and level, and then you can use your spell slots as is with those prepared spells. No, this you have to prepare. Okay, for today I'm going to have a level 1 dehydrate, a level 1 heal, a level 1 heal, a level 2 brine dragon bile, which is a great spell, a level 2 heal, and a level 2 heal. That's it. I don't get to switch them out. There are certain things that allow some prepared spellcasters to switch out stuff, but it's not really a thing like it is in D&D 5th edition. However, there are what's called spontaneous spellcasters, which I think is Bard, Sorcerer. I know there's more, but basically they get less spell slots per day, but they memorize spells, and they can use them however. So that acts kind of like how D&D works. It's just spontaneously casting them, rather than properly preparing them like this. So, if we have a look in mine, I only have level 2 stuff done, but for showing you how this works, how does this work? Oh, add a spellcasting entry. I've got Cleric Archetype, which... yeah, I need to add to it. So if I go to here and click this, I now have this, which in the other website, Archetype Cleric, I now have one level 1 spell slot available. So if I change this to that, it's not 10, I now have this. But spell preparation, I only did these normally, but I can change them out. So technically speaking, I should have this. Hello, approximate. There we go. Days, detect magic, detect metal. Bearing in mind, I only have to set this up once. Find lands, draw moisture I already have. Forbidding ward, glamorize, guidance, which works how you might think compared to D&D 5th edition. Know the way, light, message, needle darts, which is a fun spell, prestidigitation as a cleric spell, detect companion, which I don't really need but could use, read aura, read the air, rousing splash I have, shield, Sigil, stabilize, summon instrument if you want to be a bard. Tremor signs. I'm ignoring all the uncommon ones. Vitality lash, void warp, and wash your luck. Okay, so that's all those loaded in. Then we have the spell slots. So because I'm a cleric, I technically have access to all of these. So we'll drag them all in. Again, this is just showing what Foundry Virtual Tabletop can do. Cleanse Cuisine, which I used in combat somehow in the last session that my group did. By having someone throw blood onto rations while we were trying to hide, and then I cleansed cuisine on the rations. So the enemy couldn't smell us because they couldn't see. They were just naturally blind. Magic Stone, Malediction, Mending, Mystic Armor, Necromancer's Generosity, Pet Cache, Protection, oh, no, not that one. Putrefy, food and drink, not purify. Quick Sort, Restyle, Runic Body, Runic Weapon, Secret Beasts, Sanctuary, Schadenfreude, Shielded Arm, Spirit Link, Summon Lesser Servitor, Undead, Synchronize, Thoughtful Gift, Ventriloquism. Okay, and we don't have any second rank ones yet. So we can close that. And then, in the spell prep, because every day you can change these out. So I could be like, I don't want Rousing Splash because I technically know it as a witch. So I drag that out. Yes. Oh, we got an error message. Oh, Rousing Splash appeared there. That's fine. And then I could do light. We could keep draw moisture. I could do stuff like prestidigitation. Then also I will take heal because it's an empty spell. It's an extra healing spell slot. I do also have another focus spell. So I'm going to make this focus. It's not that. It's divine. It's based on my wisdom. So I've added another divine focus spell, which I got. Oh, what's it called now? It's reaction. I know that. I could check. Delay consequence, which is amazing. It's such a cool thing. Focus spells. You have a focus pool, an amount that's equal to however many focus spells you have, except if they're cantrips, because I have a cantrip here that I could use. It's a bit weird, but I digress. You can spend 10 minutes of downtime refocusing to get a focus point back. So if I used both of these by casting either Patron's Puppet as a free action or Delay Consequence, which is a reaction, Delay Consequence is really good as well. It's only got 30-foot range, but targets the triggering creature or object, which is fine. It lasts for 1 round. Trigger: a creature or object within range is hit by an attack. A lot of things have the attack trait, which is what this looks for. You transpose the moment that the target would be injured to a point later in its time stream. Roll damage normally, but do not reduce hit points or apply any other effects of the attack until the spell's duration has elapsed. When the spell ends, the target is immediately affected by the attack, taking damage and being affected by any additional effects. You can dismiss the spell early, even though it only lasts a round. So technically you could use it as a torture device, but we get into things differently. I mean, it's not a great torture device, but essentially what happens is, say, my character Ulissa can see this. I'm in range, I think. Yeah, 30 feet. Okay. So, say we have this and it's targeting, and it strikes and misses. Say if it strikes and misses again. Say if it strikes and hits. It was almost a crit, which is what I was looking for. I should have used it on player 1 because you have lower AC. But anyway, say we do that. We roll damage, but I could potentially see if it crit or not before damage is rolled, and I could be like, you know what? I'm casting Delay Consequence on my friend. So they technically take no damage until a round has passed. So when it comes back to this creature, they would take damage from that attack. So they would not apply this. They'd have to wait, which would be awkward because then you'd have to scroll back up. But it's fine. So then it's most useful, I think, if your ally gets crit, because that could be a lot of damage. And if they're low on health, they could just go down. Not die immediately, potentially. But you could then prepare them to take the hit as they're coming up after this one round, which I think's amazing. But then it used up one of my focus points. So I get 2 of these daily, like they recharge daily, but then you could take 10 minutes to refocus and get a point back. Or I could take 20 minutes to get both of them back. It's kind of just like a free spell you get that auto scales to a certain degree. Like, I don't have one that deals damage, funnily enough. So that's fine, but there are some, like, I think a Paladin's Lay on Hands ability is a focus spell. Yeah, Lay on Hands. So let's just drag that in, which, as soon as I dragged it in, it gave me a 3rd focus point. You can only have a maximum of 3 focus points. So, Lay on Hands is an action. It's ranged touch, so technically I'd need to be over here. Your hands become infused with powerful vitality, capable of healing a living creature or damaging an undead creature with a touch. Willing living creature, the target regains 6 hit points. If the target is someone other than yourself, it also gains +2 status bonus to AC for 1 round, which is awesome. So, let's say I had this and I used it. It is heightened +1, so it's now focus 2 because I'm level 4. It would be focus 2 at level 3, I'm fairly sure. So we're healing, so we do this. We can roll healing. These macros are amazing. Or if we accidentally misclicked, we can go back and recheck it. It doesn't put anything else into chat. So then we'll roll healing. So, it's not 1d6, it's 6 hit points. So we're doing 12 hit points of healing. And they get this spell effect, which means they're slightly glowing. I'll turn it back to daytime so we can see. Oh, it expired immediately because I changed time, didn't I? So if we do this, we now have this. Oh, 1 round remaining. We're not in combat, so no time is really passing at all. You gain a +2 status bonus to AC. If you're undead, take a 2 status penalty to AC instead. So if we look here, he now has 20 AC instead of 18. Which is awesome. And could use it another 2 times because I have another 2 focus pool. One thing I will touch on is the heal spell, because heal is amazing. You'll notice, unlike other spells, like Blast Shield costs 1 action, because it has 1 action here. Light costs 2 action. Heal costs 1/3. Now, I'll show you why. I'll cast it as well. So, because it puts it into chat. If you spend 1 action, the spell has a range of touch, and it heals 1d8 hit points. That's it. If you spend 2 actions to cast it, which then has the concentrate trait, the range of the spell increases to 30 feet. And if you're healing a living creature, it increases the hit points restored by 8. So then it basically becomes 8 plus 1d8, or 1d8 plus 8 hit points healed at a range of 30 feet. If you use all 3 actions to cast it, you disperse the vital energy in a 30-foot emanation. This targets all living and undead creatures in the burst, so everything in range gets affected by it. However, it doesn't do 1d8 plus 8 anymore. It only does 1d8 if you do the 30-foot emanation. Plus, I can also click this and target myself. So we can now see. So if I target everything, it even did the animation. So then we heal. Roll damage and healing. And then people apply it as necessary. And I want to just do this again. It's not targeting them for me, technically. So, technically speaking, I would do this. And then everything loads up. So each person can click their own stuff. So it would heal everybody, technically speaking, because nothing's undead. So heal, which then blanks out everything. Heal, heal, heal. And already at full health, already at full health, already at full health, so nothing happens. We rolled a 1 on the d8. Yay! Maximum healing! Whereas, just to show you as well, also, it now shows that I've used this, so I can't cast it, because that's how prepared spellcasters were. Oh, I completely forgot, and level 4, I should have... 3? Not 30. 3 of those. Which, what I chose was... That's... This upcast. This upcast. I'll restore that, thank you. So, I'll show you now... Second rank heal. Now increases it by 1d8, or the extra healing for the 2 action version increases by 8. So, I'll just target this one in particular, because it's damaged. I'm going to choose to use the 2-action variant, which is this. And then we'll roll the healing, which is now 2d8 plus 16. So I healed 20. That was a terrible roll. Plus I have cute animations, which I think is Jules and Ben's animations, I think it is. Because you can mod the game. Jules and Ben's, yeah, animated assets. And then we just apply the healing. And da-da, all done. All healed. There are other things that we can do. Like, let's see. If I change this, I'll delete you. If I change this shock to fire, to flaming. Actually, can I change the weapon's damage? I can. Let's just make it all fire. And I'll actually take this off. And leave it at that. So now, this thing deals all fire damage. So, I'm going to target Ulissa with my other character and see what happens. So it's a hit, roll damage. It's now all fire damage, which is great. You can just modify stuff however you want in-game. As a DM, I mean, not as a player. So I would take 17. However, as Ulissa, I have an ability called Eat Fire as a reaction, a spell, a cantrip. You would take fire damage. You consume and ingest fire, making it less harmful to you. You gain resistance 5 to fire damage till the end of your current turn. During the remaining duration of the spell, you can use the Belch Smoke action. The spell ends if you fall unconscious, inhale, or exhale. This includes speaking. So I cast this. It's heightened +3, which I don't think it actually does anything. So I drag that onto me. I now have resistance fire. So when I take this, I should only take 12. Ta-da! I love this, how everything works. And then I click that off. Oh, actually. Oh, there's Belch Smoke. You exhale what remains of the smoke, ending the spell and creating a smoke cloud in a 5-foot burst within 20 feet. All creatures within the smoke cloud are concealed, and all other creatures are concealed to them. The smoke lasts for 1 minute or until dispersed by a strong wind. So, a burst is generally on a point. Like, you can't just choose in the middle, essentially. So, we would do this. And then, I think it's drawing is lighting. Can't remember where to add. Oh, here it is. I can select it. I can move it now, but I can also delete it very easily. And yeah, I think that's mostly it, other than like crafting. Because for example, my character can craft. At least the basics. So let's just say I want to craft things. I get to choose 1 free item of these per day. It becomes a temporary item, so I can't sell it. So I'm going to give myself a bunch of money. Let's just give myself like 300 gold. Money. And then let's go back to crafting. Say I wanted to craft a consumable with my downtime. If I know the formula, I need 1 day to set up, 1 day to potentially craft. And how it works is, if it's consumable, you can do it in a batch of 4. You can reduce the cost slightly by spending extra days depending on your crafting result. So let's say if I want to craft healing potions, I basically just click the button. I got a crit success. Hell yeah. Because I'm... With your crafting result, you could spend extra days. You spend half the gold up front, but then you can reduce the other half by an amount based on your crafting check and an amount of days. So... your attempt is successful. Each additional day spent crafting reduces the materials needed to complete the item by an amount based on your level +1 and your proficiency rank in crafting. So you can pay the full price, which is 16 GP, even though technically I'm crafting 4. The discount per day is 9. Days until no additional cost is 9. So I could spend 1 day of setup, 1 day crafting, then an additional 9 days for it to only cost me half the money. Or I could spend the 1 day setting up, the 1 day crafting, and pay the full 16 GP. So if we do that, I lose 16 GP of... that should be more because I'm crafting 4 of them. Oh no, they're only 4 GP. Never mind, my bad. So I lose 16 GP materials, which I lost there. And it automatically put 4 in my inventory, 4 healing potions. Which, because of how the game works, healing potions, I could put it into chat. I could also just click the use button here. So let me go back to this, let my character say use it on myself. Click use. It rolls it, 6. I apply the healing. Boom, done. All done and dusted, and it's great. But yeah, there's just so much that you can do with this game. Like, even clothing. Like, there's a special explorer's clothing, just like with armor, that allows you to attach runes, but it uses like your unarmored defense bonus, or it's counted as light armor. This is great because I can sleep in it, because it's got the comfort tag. And I generally try and go for that for my characters. My characters generally end up being very squishy. There was also another thing that we do. What was I going to do? Oh yeah, that's something I was going to do. I have another mod that helps with your daily preparations. After you do a long rest, you do what's called your daily preparations. So let's just hold that in 2 hands. So I have a staff of water now, which gives me access to a cantrip called Spout and 2 first level spells. And then every morning during daily preparations, I can charge the staff and give it charges based on my maximum level of spell slot. So I can cast up to level 2 spells, so I can give the staff 2 charges. For free, doesn't cost me anything. So if I do a long rest on me, I've got this wonderful little button called Daily Preparations. Because I'm a prepared spellcaster, I could sacrifice a spell slot to give more charges, but I'm not going to do that. Rations I can do as well. So we'll notice, I think this is how it works. I know it adds somewhere. We'll see if it adds it. So I'm preparing a staff. Does it add the spell casting? No. I'm sure it did somewhere. Oh, activations. Here. Now I remember. So now it's just added these automatically. I have 2 charges. And I have access to these. So I can cast Spout if I wanted, as long as I'm holding the staff. What happens if I change this? If I sheath it? Do I have access? It says I still have access to them. But you kind of need to be holding it. So I can hold it in one hand as well. So I could cast, say, Hydraulic Push on this thing. Let's just take that off. It's an attack. I don't have multiple attack penalty, so we roll this. This has higher AC, I'm fairly sure. Yeah, 17. This has 13. So we miss, all by 1. Hero point. We miss even more. There is... I need to ask my current DM where the setting is for it specifically, but on a hero point reroll, he's got it adding +10 if you roll a 10 or lower on the dice. So it makes it feel more heroic and makes it feel like you're not wasting your reroll. Because, like, I rerolled and got lower, which it happens, but eh. But if I did hit, you call forth a powerful blast of pressurized water that bludgeons the target and knocks it back. Make a ranged spell attack roll. I miss on a failure. There's nothing for a critical failure. On a success, the target takes 3d6 bludgeoning damage and is knocked back 5 feet. On a crit, it takes 6d6 bludgeoning damage. How do I tell it if it was a crit, though? Oh, that's interesting. I want to try this now. We attack. No. Let's give me 10 charges. Come on. Hey, there we go. We got a crit. But it doesn't change that. That's weird. Normally they're pretty good about it. So I guess we'd just roll it twice. Which would... Oh, no. The DM can click double damage. Yeah, that's fine. That's how we would do it. So I'd just take 22. Yeah. That works better because it would mess with resistances. Like, if you rolled the damage twice, the game would be like, oh yeah, you take 11 minus 5 damage. You take 12 minus 5 damage. Instead of taking 22 minus 5, which is a lot better for the player. I'm going to undo that, though. Back at full health. So yeah, Foundry is probably the best part about all of this, and I love it so. Gonna be making pizza. Ooh, pizza rolls. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer. There's so much stuff that this has. Hell, just the basic action macro is amazing. So, what can we do? Like, there's a crafting check that you can click here and you drag the item. Yeah, I used to play on Roll20, but I went off of it and then I found Foundry and fell in love. Um, oh, here's another one we can do. We can sneak. So how this works is it's a private GM role, which I'll be able to see it because I'm the GM right now. So I wonder if there's any way to just show me what sneak does without doing anything else. Here. Here we go, sneak, to show how it works. You attempt to move to another place while becoming or staying undetected. Stride up to half your speed. You can use sneak while burrowing, climbing, flying, or swimming instead of striding if you have the corresponding movement type. You must move at half that speed. At the end of your movement, the GM rolls your sneak check in a secret and compares the result to the perception DC of each creature you were hidden from or undetected by at the start of your movement. If you have cover or greater cover from the creature throughout your stride, you gain +2 circumstance bonus from cover or +4 from greater cover to your stealth check. Because you're moving, the bonus increase from taking cover doesn't apply. You don't get to roll against a creature if, at the end of your movement, you neither are concealed from it nor have cover or great cover against it. You automatically become observed by such a creature. Pathfinder, dungeon crawling, snack hauling, everything looting. So yeah, you're undetected by the creature during your movement and remain undetected by the creature at the end of it. The good thing is, I wonder if, because I haven't tried this myself, if I target all of them and then sneak. It only targeted one, unfortunately. But also, my character is quicker than most, so I could. Hang on. There's a way for you to drag distance. I can't remember how. That's ping, that's pause. That would be that. Oh, there. There we go. 15 feet. Because there is one thing to note with movement. Like, that's 10 feet. If you move diagonally once, it's 5 feet. If you move again, it's 10 extra feet. So it alternates. So this would be 15 feet. Actually, I'm fairly sure there's a way. Yeah, I can waypoint it. So that's 10. So we got 15, 10, 10. So that's 25. And then that. Because I moved diagonally one more time, that diagonal would have been 10. So then we press spacebar and I walk along the path. There was a mod that I had for this that colored them depending on your movement speed, showing you how much movement you had left. Also, I have a description mod, so I could probably... Let me just change your health to say like 400. Change yours to like 400. And then let me switch to player. But yeah, Foundry is just the biggest game changer because it is moddable. And they're really up to date with keeping it up to date. I just love it, honestly. So now I'm back in as a player. So this one's perfectly fine. I can't see its hit points. I can see these because they're players. Not feeling good. At death's door. And ad break. I'm going to quickly use the bathroom. I will be right back. Whoop. Whoop. I guess I could also talk about other things, like more consumables. Like there's bombs. What the filter? Bomb. There we go. It's like, where did they go? Oh, that's cool. Automatically applied encumbered to me. That's amazing. What's clumsy one do again? AC reflex, ranged attack rolls. Great. That's not what I want. I guess I can get rid of those. And get rid of that staff. Okay, we're no longer encumbered. That's great. So another sort of weapon that we have access to in Pathfinder is bombs. And I use these a lot in my previous character because they were an alchemist, so it just happened. I'm not proficient in them though, so let me change that real quick. I think I can add them. Yeah, bomb. Where's bomb? Bomb. Add. Say I'm just trained in them. So instead of having a +2 to attack, I now have +8 with them. Let's throw the acid flask, because this is, I won't say fun, but let's just, even on a miss with a bomb, you hit, kinda. Basically, with the splash tag or trait, because everything has a trait. Some weapons and effects, such as alchemical bombs, have the splash trait. When you use a weapon or effect with the splash trait, you don't add your strength modifier to the damage roll. A splash weapon or effect deals any listed splash damage to the target on a failure, success or critical success. And to all other creatures within 5 feet of the target on a success or critical success. On a critical failure, the weapon or effect misses entirely, dealing no damage. Add splash damage together with the initial damage against the target before applying the target's resistance or weakness. You don't multiply splash damage on a critical hit. So, if I'm targeting this and I just roll the damage, the main target is taking persistent acid damage, acid, and 1 for the splash, I'm fairly sure. So, oh, I'm no longer on DM, am I? Join the game as DM. Let's change back, I forgot about that. Okay. So, training dummy takes damage and persistent damage now. So at the end of its turn, it's going to take 1d6 acid damage. I just want to double check because I like figuring it out. Yeah, it deals 1 acid damage and 1 acid splash damage as well as persistent. So the 2 damage that the main target takes basically includes this. However, everyone around it, so player 1, takes the splash damage. So if the player 1 can click this button themselves, take the splash, and then the unknown adventurer would do the same splash. So each of my allies takes 1 damage, and the main target takes 2 and persistent acid damage if I'd have hit. Because I missed, the main target would take the splash damage and these 2 wouldn't. So essentially I would undo that, undo that, undo that. Because I missed, the training dummy takes that. And that's it. 1 damage. Because, yeah. Another fun one is all bombs have a lot of effects. So if we do the bottled lightning now, let's draw it. Let's roll. Probably miss now. Oh, I hit. So damage. The bomb also deals 1 electricity splash damage, and the target becomes off guard until the start of your next turn. So, can I drag that to you? Oh, I can. Awesome. Its AC is now lower until the start of my next turn. So, because I've done that, I could throw another bomb, essentially. I would have map to it because it's an attack roll, but it's now easier to hit because it's off guard. So you basically just want to apply conditions is basically what Pathfinder really excels at, and there's so many of them. And there are other rules like there's flanking rules. Like I think the unknown adventurer, because player 1's in the party, I think it's going to take into account flanking. We'll be able to see, or I will. Oh wait, I think flanking is a circumstance bonus, same as off guard. So if we do that again, yeah, off guard, flanked. off guard. So it takes into account if you were there, I don't think it works. Yeah, AC is now 13 again instead of 11. I don't think this works either, but I want to try it. Nope. This should work though. Yeah, AC 11. And we've got another crit. Let's just roll it. 31 fired. Oh yeah, I changed the weapon type to fire, didn't I? Yeah, that's a lot of damage. At level 1. But that's mostly because I gave runes to it. I'm just trying to think of any other things to explain. The spellcasting is probably one of the biggest changes on movement compared to D&D 5th edition, and how everything scales with level. But everything scaling with level makes storytelling a lot better. Exploration, downtime. Yeah. I think I'm pretty much done. Unless people have questions. Everything has pretty much got an action as well. Like, there's even one for... I wonder if it's here. No. But if I go back to here, there's technically an action to point out. The creature is undetected by one or more of your allies, but isn't undetected to you. You indicate a creature that you can see to one or more allies, gesturing in a direction and describing the distance verbally. That creature is hidden to your allies rather than undetected. This works only for allies who can see you and are in position where they could potentially detect the target. If your allies can't hear or understand you, they must succeed at a perception check against the creature's stealth DC, or they misunderstand and believe the target is in a different location. Stealth DC, I wonder if I can show that. So if I do, say hidden, because I don't think there's stealth yet. So if I go to me now as Ulissa, this thing is hidden. I think I can seek it. But it doesn't show. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any way for me to just see it other than the DM being like, oh, if the DM was to do that, they would basically go to their stealth DC, which they don't have stealth as a skill, but I can add it. So let's just add it. Add skill. And oh, I just changed the modifier manually. Okay. Let's say it's trained. It's creature level 2, so that will be 4, and it has -3 dex. So it would have 1 stealth. So the stealth DC is whatever this is plus 10. So its athletics DC would be 19, its stealth would be 11. Same for your saves. Oh, that's another one I should point out. There's 6 saving throws in, well, technically 7 with death saving throws in D&D 5th edition. Strength, dexterity, constitution, wisdom, intelligence, and charisma saves. In Pathfinder, there's fortitude, which is based off of your constitution. There's reflex based off your dexterity, and there's will based off your wisdom. End of story. I think it's based off your wisdom. But But you can be trained in them, you can be an expert in them. Yeah, it's based off wisdom. The DM could also come in and add specific modifiers as well. Item status circumstance untyped. Oh, that's another one I can show. Where is it? Let's have a look. Spell casting. Let me just take you off. I'm fairly sure I have access to it. It's not on that one though. It's on my cleric here. Bless. Just your standard bless. So, let's cast it. Aura bless. So now I have an aura. And then it shows that this guy is getting blessed. They have a +1 status bonus to attack rolls. And then once per round on subsequent turns, you can sustain the spell. There is no concentration. There is concentrate trait, but there is no concentration like in D&D 5th edition. You cast a spell that has a duration, it lasts it, unless you have the ability to dismiss the spell, which a lot of spells add in a line at the end. There are some that have a duration of sustained up to a certain amount. So like, this has a duration of 1 minute, does bless, so it just lasts for a minute. Some of them would be like sustained up to a minute, so every round you'd have to, where is it? Sustain a spell with an action, and it just extends it by a round. If an ability can be sustained but doesn't list how long, it can be sustained up to 10 minutes. And it extends to the end of your next turn. If your sustain action is disrupted, the ability ends. So basically, you can just keep it going. But it also means you can keep multiple sustained spells going at once, up to technically 3. You wouldn't be able to do anything else on your turn except sustain them. But the wonderful thing is, if I remember correctly, if I just click on this, I increase it. So I would sustain it. Can I do it again? I can. It doesn't have a limit. So would it just keep increasing if I sustained? Everybody's in bless. And then 15, I think, is the minimum. Yeah, then it ends. And we get a cool animation of it ending. But yeah, because of how Foundry works, these two characters are essentially in the same party. Like, this is the party members. They can configure ownership. Actually, I know there's... I guess they've changed it slightly. Like, if I go to, say, monsters, ownership, is it that? I know there's a way for me to... Ah, here we go. Alliance, ownership, default, opposition. So you can set it to neutral, opposition, or party. What if I change you to neutral? Would you then gain the benefits of the bless? I want to know now. I'm learning too. Okay, sustain it. No, you don't. Whereas if I configure this and make you party, maybe not. Maybe I clicked something wrong. Okay, I just had to move out to re-trigger it. So he's now benefiting. Let's change him back to opposition. He's still getting blessed until I do that and cover half of his token. But yeah, I think I'm done with explaining to a certain degree, unless people have questions. If not, I might as well just end early. Have a nice early finish for once, to then get ready for work. Ugh. But yeah, I love Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I love Foundry. It's so powerful and so useful. And then we have just the usual Path Builder and Archives of Nethys. If you want to know just how Archive of Nethys is, like, if this was D&D 5th edition, this would be shut down completely. This is fan-built, essentially. Whereas if you go to Paizo and I want to say Community, maybe, or if it's Pathfinder. Maybe not. That's message boards. We go to Pathfinder. I know it's linked here somewhere. Yeah, Archives of Nethys on the official Paizo website offers a free online Pathfinder player's guide to help you learn and play. If this was Wizards of the Coast, I'd be like, no, shut that shit down. But Paizo's like, yeah, go play. And if you like it, buy it from us, please. And players are like, okay, sure. And I think that's great. It's a complete understanding of your player base that they'll go out and spread word for you. And yeah, I think with that though, I'm going to call it here. Because I've been talking so much. My voice is, We're going to go and raid. You know what? I'll raid Blue Peas, or Blue-Roo. They're playing Super Mario Odyssey. But yeah, thank you all for being here and listening to me ramble for 3 hours. I appreciate your faces. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. And I'll be back tomorrow with, I don't know yet. Probably won't be Veilguard though. But yeah, I'm always here to talk about Pathfinder stuff. Thank you for being here, Gucci. I hope you feel better. We're going to go and raid Blue-Roo, and I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. Bye!